The sudden release of El-Rufai shows that they were only keeping him to humiliate him while killing. Okay? According to a report by Daily Post on Saturday, March 28, 2026, social media commentator Imran Wakili has reacted to the release of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai from the custody of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission. I think it's because he lost his mom, so they probably want him to go and pay his last respect. He's probably going to go back. It's not like they've released him and say, okay, you are free of all charges against you. No. It's because he lost his mom and he probably should go and pay his last respect, and that privilege is given to him because he was once a governor in the state, he was once a minister and all of that. He's of the high caliber people in the country, so that is why he's getting the opportunity, because I don't think that on a normal day they will release a criminal, even if his mother, even if his old generation, they'll now say, yeah, let's release you to go bury your mom or to go bury your whatever. But it's because it is El-Rufai, that is why they released him to go and pay his last respect. The development followed reports concerning the passing of El-Rufai's mother, Hajia Umar, which emerged shortly before his release. The situation has drawn attention to the circumstances surrounding his detention and the timing of the decision to grant his freedom. El-Rufai, who previously served as governor of Kaduna State, has been held by anti-corruption agencies as part of an ongoing matter. Details about the reason for his detention has not been fully disclosed publicly, but his time in custody became a subject of discussion among political observers and members of the public. His release came unexpectedly, especially in the context of the personal loss he experienced with the passing of his mother. Following the developments, Wakili shared his position on the matter through a post on the social media platform X. In his remarks, he suggested that the former governor's detention may not have been based on established wrongdoings. He expressed the view that the circumstances surrounding the arrest and continued detention raised questions about the intent behind the action. His comment focused on perception where the detention may have served purposes beyond legal investigation. Wakili also pointed out the timing of the release as a key issue in his reaction. He suggested that the decision to release El-Rufai shortly after the news of his mother's passing became public created the impression that other consideration may have influenced the process. Which other consideration? According to his view, the sequence of events added to the concerns about whether due process had been followed throughout the period of detention. The situation has placed attention on the operation of the anti-corruption agency and how high-profile cases are handled. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission is responsible for investigating and prosecuting corruption-related offences, and its actions are often closely monitored by the public. Cases involving prominent political figures tend to attract wider interest, particularly when there are limited details available about the reason for detention or the progress of investigation. Observers have also noted that developments involving political figures often generate discussions across different platforms, including social media. In this case, the reactions from Wakili reflect one of several perspectives being shared in the response to the release. His comment adds to the broader conversation about accountability, transparency, and the handling of investigation involving former public office holders. He said the sudden release of Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai shows that they were only keeping him to humiliate him. Maybe. Not because he committed any crime. I don't think they've released him to go bata. It's just to go and pay last respect to his mother. That is what I think. Aremu says he was released on compassionate ground to enable him mourn and bury his mother. Stop posting misleading information on social media. Exactly. Because I just think that is the only reason why they allow him to go. Adunyemi says he was not case for humiliation. He was reported of fraudulent, owing his state money by the present governor amounting to 432 billion naira, of which all Kaduna citizens wanted him to pay back the money. Secondly, on insecurity, every Nigerian was asking why untrained soldiers were buying trained soldiers, not knowing that the directive has been tapped by him, linking it to the terrorists. Therefore, don't be sentimental on El-Rufai's release. It's just to give his last respect to his mom. That's what I also think. It's just to pay his last respect to his mom. It always says, I believe it was released as a mark of his respect to attend to the passing of his mom, because they said the release was temporary. Definitely, it's going to be temporary. It's not like they released him permanently. It's not possible. But the idea is, and do you want them to buy him like the not bite MQ Abiola? Or what nonsense is this Wakili talking about? Since when did El-Rufai become so important? Please let us hear what nonsense. Look, I said they've only made him more popular. It should be more popular. I beg. Human necessity is just a useless government ruling useless. That is not a country. That is not a country yet. Can a UK or US government release a criminal or a suspect simply because he lost his mother? And that is why I'm saying that it is because El-Rufai is an important personality. We can't rule that out. Because on a normal day, there are some people in prison right now, but they've not sentenced him to court. He has not passed through trial. So even his being held in prison is actually illegal. You can't hold somebody for more than 48 hours if you've not found him guilty of anything. You've not taken him to trial. They've not taken him to court. So they are really holding him against his will. But even at that, you are holding him. So we already know that you are holding him. Why are you releasing him? You won't release other people like that to say, oh yeah, go and pay your last respect to your mother. They will never do that. It's because it is El-Rufai. He was once a governor. He's a high-profile person. That is why. That's why. Useless government, well, they are all criminals playing the same game. Nonsense. Abigail said when they said his mother passed, it is human to allow him honor now. Some comments are just unreasonable criticism. If he was not considered and released, some people will still complain that they don't have empathy. Well, it's just a preference, because if it was other people, they will not allow. Will they allow it? They will not allow it. People say, if it is so, why didn't they release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to go and mourn his mother? That is the one reason why people were calling Nigeria Ezu. Perry says, before, much as APC is a useless party that is infested with agents of devil, I don't have sympathy for El-Rufai because it's not different from Tinubu and the APC. So God bless you, sir. You have said it all. Okay, Gerald said this government don't know what they have done to themselves by arresting El-Rufai. Tell us, what have they done to themselves? Benson says, what about if there would be a sudden release of Nnamdi Kanu so that it's not a talk but a mock to the Igbos? What's that? Yes, I believe that they just let him know that nobody is above the law in Nigeria. Okay. And listen, don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.